Have you ever struggled with the feedback you got from a boss or colleague? Have you ever gotten whiplash when one manager encourages you to do one thing and the next admonishes you for doing the same exact thing? Have you ever suspected that feedback was being used in a passive-aggressive way, or maybe just an aggressive way, to undermine your confidence, enthusiasm, and career prospects? In light of all of the above, have you ever wondered whether the conventional wisdom of feedback is a gift may not be telling the truth, or at least the whole truth? In today's episode of No More Illusions, we will reveal why, if you're not clear on what feedback is and what it isn't, it can do more harm than good. And we'll propose a perspective that helps you get the most out of any feedback, good or bad, fair or unfair, well-intended or malicious. Welcome to No More Illusions. I'm your host, Joe Kwon, the Connection Counselor. In a bit of irony, I always complain to my wife when I don't get enough feedback from my bosses. I've actually been told once, "I don't know exactly what you're doing, but I like the way you're doing it. Keep it up." But sometimes when I get detailed feedback, it can be hard to digest. I'm not always that receptive to some of the things I'm told, and if I'm honest, a lot of that is just ego. It's usually something I sort of already know about myself or my situation, but I've been ignoring it and now I have to face it, and that can be a good thing. But there are other times when the feedback, for lack of a better word, just seems wrong. Here are a few examples. I call this ninja feedback. Manager: people have told me you are, insert whatever negative adjective you might get here. Me: who said this? Manager: I can't tell you, they wanted to remain anonymous. Me: okay, when exactly are we talking about? Manager: sorry, can't tell you that either, or you might guess who it is. It makes it kind of hard to process feedback when it's coming from I don't know where. You might have also encountered what I like to call double standard feedback. This happens a lot to people I coach or mentor who are women or otherwise underrepresented professionals. Manager: there have been some concerns about your style and the way you communicate. People find it aggressive. Me: who? Manager: can't say. Me: okay, I get that. You know, so-and-so, insert another coworker's name who's even more aggressive, talks exactly the same way and is perhaps even more forceful. Are they getting the same feedback? Manager: this is about you. It's different with so-and-so. So you can see how this feedback can be kind of hard to digest as well. Let me give you one last example. I like to call this one red herring feedback. This happens when people can't legally or won't say what the real problem is. Manager: you didn't meet expectations, so you won't get your bonus. Me: what expectations? Manager: your sales targets. Me: but I actually did. I have the information right here. Manager: well, that's not the entire story. We still have to rate you as low. Me: why? I met and exceeded my targets and have had glowing reviews from all my clients. Manager: it's more about just that. We'll work on improving your results for next year. Don't worry. So what's going on here? Let's unpack a few truths so we can understand how feedback really works and its limits as well as its benefit. Truth number one: feedback is information about the other person's preferences, expectations, and worldview. When someone gives feedback, they are revealing what they value, what they expect, what they notice, and what annoys or pleases them. This doesn't mean you can ignore what they are saying, especially if it helps you improve in ways you agree would be helpful. But it does mean what they say is not some sort of objective truth about your performance or character. It's their subjective preference, and you should view it with that lens. For example, one boss says you are too direct, another boss says you are not direct enough. Both pieces of feedback tell you more about the boss than about you. Truth number 2. Feedback is often about their needs, not your development. People frame feedback as if they are helping you grow, but very often they are actually saying what would make their lives easier and more comfortable. For example, be more concise could mean I'm impatient or overloaded. Speak up more could mean I want more visible engagement from you. Be less aggressive could mean your style makes me uncomfortable. None of these are inherently right or wrong, but they are more about how to function successfully with that person and less about your ability or performance in your job. So, given how misleading some feedback can be, should you ignore it and just do you? Absolutely not. Should you follow it and adjust for each manager? Also, absolutely not. It's horrible for your well-being and motivation to try to please each manager in this way, changing yourself however the winds blow. Instead, you need a new perspective, one that can take advantage of the feedback that will help you and minimize the negative impact of less helpful feedback. In order to do that, you're going to treat feedback like market research and not a verdict. If you treat feedback like a verdict or final judgment, it can cause confusion and resistance and even paralyze you. However, if you treat it like market research, it becomes powerful. You don't need to accept every piece of feedback as the final word. Rather, it's a piece of the puzzle, and that matters because at least one person sees it that way, but it's not the entire puzzle. When you take this perspective, it's less about whether the feedback is right or wrong, fair or unfair, helpful or malicious. Instead, you can ask yourself, how does this feedback impact my ability to achieve my goals? How can I leverage this feedback to understand how to advance my career rather than how to meet this person's preferences? When you view feedback like a data point in broader market research, you can decide strategically for any given piece of feedback whether to implement, adapt, ignore, or further test it. Feedback being a gift is an illusion. The reality is that feedback reveals how someone else sees the world. Clarity and power comes when you learn to tell the difference and leverage feedback as a piece of the overall puzzle that leads to high performance and success. If this resonated, you can join the Connection Counselor newsletter at connectioncounselor.com, where I share reflections and practical ideas on work, people, and personal growth. Or reach out to me at joe@connectioncounselor.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to No More Illusions. I'm Joe Kwon, the Connection Counselor. Take care and remember, clarity reveals, illusion steals.